Good evening and welcome to the council meeting on Monday, the 25th of September, 2023. I will move to agenda item 1. Apologies for absence, please. Councillor Carroll, please.
Councillors Stephen Haynes and Gillian Bruce, and Councillor Robert Fisher is hoping to join the meeting, but he has another commitment at present.
Thank you, Councillor Carroll. Councillor Burnett. Leader.
Sorry, I thought Councillor Johnson was before me.
Sorry, I didn't see. Councillor Johnson, please.
King Horrid Stephen William.
Thank you. Councillor Burnett, please.
And could I give apologies for Councillor Margaret Wilkinson, please?
Thank you. Agenda item 2 is to hear the roll call of members and to receive declarations of interest and the nature of such interests under the Council's Code of Conduct. Could I ask the Chief Executive to take the roll call, please?
Yeah, members could indicate if they're present and also any interest in the nature of that interest, please, when responding. Start with Councillor Anne Asprey.
Presennol. Dim byd yn datgan.
Councillor Julie Aviett.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Gareth Ball.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Rhiannon Birch.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Bronwyn Brooks.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Ian Buckley.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Liz Burnett.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Samantha Campbell. Councillor Campbell. No. Councillor George Carroll.
Present, nothing to declare, and I've also been informed that Councillor Bruce is in the meeting and has joined online.
Okay, I'll go back. Councillor Gillian Bruce.
Present and nothing to declare.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce.
You.
Councillor Christine Cave.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Charles Champion.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Janice Charles.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Millie Collins.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Marianne Cowp.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Pamela Drake.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Vince Driscoll.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Anthony Ernest.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Robert Fisher. Come back. Councillor Chris Franks.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Wendy Gilligan.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Russell Godfrey.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Emma Goodjohn.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Ewan Goodjohn.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Howard Hamilton.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Sally Hanks.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor William Hennessy.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Nick Hodges.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Mark Hooper.
Presennol a dim byd yn datgan.
Councillor Catherine Iannucci.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Gwyn John.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Ian Johnson.
Presennol a dim byd yn datgan.
Councillor Susan Lloyd Selby.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Belinda Lovelock Edwards.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Julie Lynch Wilson.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Kevin Marney.
There. Again, present and nothing to declare.
Thank you. Councillor Naomi Marshalsea.
Yn presennol a ddim byd i ddatgan.
Councillor Michael Morgan.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Jane Norman.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Helen Payne.
I've just been informed that Councillor Payne has been delayed. She may not be able to join.
Thank you. Councillor Elliot Penn.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Sandra Perks.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Ian Perry.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Joanna Prythrow.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Ruba Sivinianum.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Carys Stallard.
Yn bresennol a dim byd i'w datgan.
Councillor Neil Thomas.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Rhys Thomas.
Present, nothing to declare.
Councillor Eddie Williams.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Mark Wilson.
Present and nothing to declare.
Councillor Nicholas Wood.
Present and nothing to declare.
I'll just go back and check. Councillor Samantha Campbell. No. Okay. And Councillor Robert Fisher. Okay. That concludes the roll call. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 3, to approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 24th of July 2023. This is subject to members page 248 members' questions, and the figure should have read £250,000. So can we approve those minutes, please?
I'll move, Mayor.
Thank you.
And I'll second those minutes, Mayor.
Thank you, councillors. Agenda item 4, to receive announcements from the Mayor, the Leader, members and the Cabinet and the Chief Executive, and to receive any petitions submitted by members. I have an announcement, first of all. There have been several quite moving engagements I've attended over the last month. These include the commemoration and wreath laying on Merchant Navy Day and at the Battle of Britain at Barry and Penarth. It was a privilege to attend the farewell parade at MOD St Athan, an establishment that has been here in the Vale of Glamorgan since 1939, and have held close connections with the surrounding areas over the years. It is a great shame to see them leave, but I wish them all the very best in their new home. Thank you. I'll move to leaders' announcements, please, if you have any.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, if I could. This afternoon, I received a petition of currently 13,674 signatures from Protect T Havan Peace supporters who seek to prevent the development of a caravan and holiday park on land at Hayes Road, Sully, between T Havan and Beechwood College. As the petition relates to a planning application, I have forwarded it to the planning department for their consideration. A week ago, the Chief Executive and I, accompanied by officers, met with the residents of the waterfront. As promised, concerns raised at the meeting and also by email were conveyed to the consortium at a meeting on Wednesday. There will now be fortnightly meetings to review progress, and weekly updates of progress on delivery of outstanding infrastructure will be published on the council's website. And if you look at the Participate Vale website page currently, you'll find it on there already. And that's got details of the residents' meeting as well. The council is continuing to progress legal action. On Friday, I was delighted to join residents of Ogmore for the official opening of their village hall. For 40 years, this small group of local people have worked tirelessly to deliver a facility for their community, and at times it must have felt an impossible task. But the end result was absolutely spectacular and well worth a visit. It's on the coast with superb views over the sea, and it also has a cafe with cake. So what's better than that? Later on the same day, I joined Newydd Housing and Glamorgan Voluntary Services alongside many local residents to celebrate the installation of the stained glass windows at St Paul's in Arcot Street, Penarth, to complete the development that provides much needed accommodation and a well-equipped community centre. Designed by local artist Sarah Sweeney with the help of pupils from Stanwell School and the Penarth Civic Society, I'm sure the windows and the community centre will become a focal point of the town for decades to come. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Leader. I believe Councillor Birch would like to give an announcement, please.
Thank you. I would like to tell the council about a meeting we had, a visit from Jeremy Miles last week, who's the MS responsible for education. He came to see 2 of our newest facilities in the Vale. First, we went to Aderyn Newydd, an offshoot of Ysgol Derry, built on the old Court Road depot, so a good use of a brownfield site. He was shown the airy, light-filled classrooms and the state-of-the-art teaching facilities, also the repurposed garages and outbuildings turned into workshops so that students can gain practical skills alongside academic qualifications. The Minister was full of praise for the school and the Council's commitment to all students being given the chance to achieve their potential. He is keen to visit the new Ysgol Derry site when it gets underway. We then went to the new Ysgol St Barrack, the Welsh Medium Primary School on the waterfront, another building with airy light rooms, full access to the outside. So during our visit, the reception class were moving between classrooms in the yard in the course of their imaginative play. During the visit, the building contractors, Galliford High, presented a sizable cheque to the head teacher, Rhian Andrew. Again, the Minister, Jeremy Miles, was impressed by the school facilities and its green credentials. The school building has no gas. It is run on air source heat pumps. There are photovoltaic panels on the roof feeding into an on-site battery storage system. There are electric vehicle charging points and large habitat areas which will increase the site's biodiversity. He offered his congratulations to everyone involved. It was a very pleasing visit and an opportunity to show off the Vale's investment in its pupils and its schools programme. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Birch. Mark Wilson, I believe you have something as well, some announcement.
Yes, I do. Thank you very much, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank the officers of the council for their sterling work in implementing the traffic road orders and in changing in signage. If there are any anomalies, then I'd be grateful that residents contact our call centre or contact your local councillors. As this is early days, may I thank the residents for complying with the legislation. Of course, there will be teething problems which will be ironed out. There will be a thorough review of speed limits next year, and the Welsh Government will provide additional funding, and they will be raising their document Circular 24/2009 setting local speed limits, as well as their 30 mph exception guidance. As Cabinet member, I, with other members of Cabinet, will advise members accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. I do apologise. I made a really big mistake here. I didn't read the housekeeping rules. So could I put them in here now, please? Oh, sorry. Does the Chief Executive have any announcements?
Nothing for me. Nothing for me.
Oh, sorry, Councillor. Would you like to present the petition, please?
Thank you. I wish to present this petition on behalf of Community Councillor Malcolm Phillips and any residents of Dinas Powys, which is calling upon this council to put lights on the ash path for the safety of its residents as part of a campaign of WISE, which is Walk in a Safer Environment. If I could come, Madam Mayor, to give this petition, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Asbury. I'll make sure they go to the relevant department. Thank you very much. Thank you. No, big mistake. Housekeeping rules. May I advise of the housekeeping rules? I would like to remind members that under the Council's multi-locations policy, this meeting will be re-recorded and uploaded to the Council's website as soon as possible after the meeting. Can I also ask all members, except for Cabinet members and group leaders, that your mics and cameras are turned off until you are invited by myself to speak. Should you wish to speak, would you please indicate by raising the hand function on Teams. If this function ceases to work during the meeting, please indicate in the chat facility your wish to speak. If attending by telephone, please indicate verbally when appropriate your wish to speak. With regard to voting on recommendations, if there is no dissent to a recommendation, I would accept the silence as agreement. Should a vote, however, be required, it is my intention that all members be asked individually for their vote. If during the meeting you have technical difficulties, please let the Democratic Services Officer know as soon as possible. Can I apologise once again? I'll try not to make that mistake again. Thank you all. Thank you, members. Agenda item 5 is the Joint Overview and Scrutiny Committee of the South East Wales Corporate Joint Committee. I believe this is for noting. Let's take it. Leader, is leader taking it? Can I ask the leader, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, this report seeks council approval to appoint the Cardiff Capital Region City Deal Joint Overview and Scrutiny Committee, otherwise known as JOSC, as the Joint Overview and Scrutiny Committee for the South East Wales Corporate Joint Committee, or CJC. Lots of acronyms on this, and agree the draft terms of reference for their functions. These are detailed at Appendix 1 to this report. The South East Wales Corporate Joint Committee, CJC, is required to have appropriate scrutiny arrangements in place. And so this report sets out the requirements in relation to that statutory duty and seeks the authority to implement suitable arrangements. The statutory guidance issued by Welsh Government that accompanies the CJC regulations states that the CJCs will be subject to the same performance, governance and scrutiny requirements as local authorities. However, it also states that it is expected that these arrangements should be proportionate to the scale of functions the CJC undertakes. The Local Authorities Joint Overview and Scrutiny Committee's Wales Regulations 2013 requires all 10 constituent authorities to agree to appoint the JOSC and to agree its terms of reference. To date, Cardiff, Rhondda and Taff and Merthyr Tydfil councils have approved the draft terms of reference at their recent respective council meetings. The JOSC will comprise one non-executive member from each constituent council of the CCRCD, which are also the constituent authorities of the CJC. It's proposed that appointing the JOSC as the Overview and Scrutiny Committee for the CJC under separate terms of reference would best satisfy Welsh Government's intention. Once these terms of reference are approved by the 10 constituent councils, the CJC JOSC will come into existence immediately. On page 2 of the item, the 5 recommendations are before you, and I would therefore move the 5 recommendations as set out in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Councillor Johnson, would you like to come in there, please?
Thank you, Leader, for the
Sorry,
explanation.
could I have a seconder? Sorry, Councillor Johnson. Could I have a seconder for that, please?
Yeah, I'll second that for the record, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Sorry, Councillor Johnson, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Leader. Thank you, Mayor. Just looking for a little bit of clarification about how the JOSC will operate in the context of being a joint overview and scrutiny committee of the corporate joint committee. Appendix, and that's both in terms of what we can send up to JOSC and how JOSC reports back to our committee structure. So I noticed in Appendix 1 in the draft terms of reference, I think it's paragraphs 15 to 17, talk about a member of the JOSC can submit an item for discussion. I was looking to understand the mechanisms that we will be implementing in order to do that. Is that something that will be done by our member, our representative, which would be Councillor Perks as chair of the Environment and Regeneration Committee? Is that something which comes via that committee itself, via full council? I'm just trying to understand those processes. Just for example, in hypothetical terms, if someone was to build a £3 million bus station with no buses using money from the Cardiff Capital Region, would that be considered something that would be something that would be determined by them as part of their discussion of the wider Metro Plus work that's being undertaken? What's the mechanism for us passing something upwards? And similarly, what's the mechanism for JOSC I say reporting back, but the transparency of JOSC in terms of our oversight, is that going to be reported to the Environmental Regeneration Committee so we can see what our member has done and what JOSC is up to in terms of its scrutiny of the wider Corporate Joint Committee? I just appreciate a bit of clarity on how this will operate, because one of the issues obviously with a supra authority organisation like the Corporate Joint Committees is to the extent to which we as local councillors are actually able to scrutinise and understand the work that's being undertaken at that level. Thank you very much, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Can I have Councillor George Carroll's comments and questions, please, before I ask the Leader to reply?
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. And I echo some of the comments and concerns raised by Councillor Johnson. As I've made clear previously, the Conservative group opposed the creation of corporate joint committees. As a concept, we believe that it takes power away from our communities and, crucially, away from the democratically elected representatives who are accountable to residents. Unfortunately, our opposition fell on deaf ears and CJCs have now been established. It's therefore imperative that we have detailed, extensive and robust scrutiny of the actions and performance of CJCs to ensure that they are acting in the best interests of our communities. This requires a variety of perspectives to be considered and a large range of views to be taken on board. I'm therefore firmly of the view that this authority's representative on the committee responsible for scrutinising the CJC should come from an opposition party and not a group represented in the executive. The reasons for this are obvious. The ruling groups of the authority are represented by virtue of the council leader sitting on the CJC. The proposals before us this evening will see Councillor Perks, a member of the Labour group, act as the council's representative on the body responsible for scrutinising the CJC. This is less than satisfactory, as for the reasons outlined above, I believe that this role should be fulfilled by an opposition member. My long-held concerns about CJCs remain, and these proposed arrangements do not address them, so I therefore cannot support these proposals.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to call a vote on this, please.
Would you like me to come back in first, Mayor?
It's the Mayor on mute.
Oh, that's better now. Go on.
Leader, are you happy to take Councillor Perry's questions and comments as well before you reply to anything?
Yes, I can do if that's...
Councillor Perry, go ahead, please.
Hi,
Councillor Perry?
oh yeah, I put my hand down a while ago.
Thank you.
Thanks for noticing.
Thank
Sorry
you.
about that.
Thank you. Go ahead, Leader, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you those that contributed. I think it's fairly early days, if I'm honest, and if you actually look at paragraph 17, it actually talks about referring matters to JOSC. And you can look at it and you can say, well, we're talking here about the City Deal Joint Overview Committee, but actually you've also got a regional transport authority, and that will you might want to, if you want to talk about a multimodal transport interchange, then you actually might want to talk to the RTA in terms of the intentions, in terms of funding it as long-term future infrastructure. but there is a potential for sending items, matters for consideration, as there are in other scrutiny committees that we operate. In terms of the actual representation, we have 2 representatives. We have somebody appointed to it, as you said, Councillor Perks, and we also have a substitute, which is Councillor Perry. Both were determined by the scrutiny committee. So I would say that actually is probably the most effective way to have representation. We have, as you would be aware, reports back of minutes from the capital region, and also will with the CJC back through cabinet. There's no reason why you can't in scrutiny have the minutes of the JOSC. I mean, that's perfectly in order. So this is a fairly straightforward, transparent thing. It's seeking to replace what we currently operate with a replica for the new structure. And I'm quite happy to support that.
Thank you, Leader. Can I ask Councillor Marnie for his comments or questions, please?
Yes, thanks very much. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, it was great trepidation that I actually voted for this in the first place. I didn't really see any benefit to the Vale Glamorgan, but I went along because of the huge amount of money that would benefit the region of 10 councils, rather reluctantly. But when I see what benefits are coming to the Vale, it just seems to be a bus station with no buses. So when we talk about scrutiny, yes, the process of scrutinising the decisions that come to the city region are important. But however, it's the Vale Glamorgan who proposed that white elephant that's been built. I mean, if it wasn't so tragic that anybody would build a bus station with no buses, it would be laughable. So basically, it's not just our representative for what scrutiny has to be by the city region, but the Vale Glamorgan Council itself, which is put itself in another laughable, tragic situation. But I do endorse the comments that have been made before, apart from Lisbon X, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marnie. Leader, would you like to come back with a reply for that?
I don't think there's a huge amount to say. As I said, if you're talking about a multimodal transport interchange, which has, facilities for bikes, it has bike lockup facilities, it has car parking. I mean, at the moment, the buses stop a couple hundred yards up the road at Morrison's to work with bus companies to look at what's feasible within their timetables. Then that work is ongoing. When we plan infrastructure, we plan it long term. We don't say, well, actually, we're going to set up a bus stop and somebody can stop there for a couple of weeks. So I look forward to having this conversation in a couple of years' time when we have the full implementation of the multimodal facility. Thank you, Councillor Marnie.
Thank you, Leader. Councillor Charles, can I just clarify if you were requesting a recorded vote, please?
No, it doesn't have to be recorded. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a show of hands. Sorry, Councillor George Carroll?
To clarify, Madam Mayor, from Councillor Charles' comments, she didn't necessarily want an individual roll call. We'd be satisfied with a block vote of group members, but we would like it to be recorded, yes.
Thank you. Are all leaders happy with a block vote? Councillor Carroll?
Come on, George. Pardon, Madam Mayor?
Are leaders happy with a block vote?
I'm satisfied, or for a recorded vote, I don't mind which.
Councillor Leader, are you happy with the block vote?
I'd prefer not to, Mayor. It's not something that's whipped in my group, and we are all free to vote as we would wish. I would not want to impose a vote on any of my members.
In that case, the Chief Executive will read through the roll call.
Okay, so if I can ask members to indicate if they're in favour of the recommendations or against, and we'll go through them alphabetically, or of course abstain if you want to abstain. So for or against or abstain, Councillor Asprey, please.
For.
Councillor Aviett. Councillor Ball. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
For the motion.
For, thank you. Councillor Rhiannon Birch. Councillor Birch.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Bronwyn Brooks.
For the recommendation.
Councillor Gillian Bruce.
Against.
Councillor Ian Buckley.
For.
Councillor Liz Burnett.
For.
Councillor George Carroll.
Against.
Councillor Christine Cave.
Against.
Councillor Charles Champion.
Against.
Councillor Janice Charles.
Against.
Councillor Millie Collins.
For.
Councillor Marianne Cowp.
For the recommendations.
Councillor Pamela Drake.
For.
Councillor Vince Driscoll.
Against.
Councillor Anthony Ernest.
Against.
Councillor Chris Franks.
For.
Councillor Wendy Gilligan.
For.
Councillor Russell Godfrey.
Against.
Councillor Emma Goodjohn.
For.
Councillor Ewan Goodjohn.
For the recommendations.
Councillor Howard Hamilton.
For.
Councillor Sally Hanks.
For the recommendation.
Councillor William Hennessy.
Against the recommendation.
Councillor Nick Hodges.
For.
Councillor Mark Hooper.
For.
Councillor Catherine Iannucci.
For.
Councillor Gwyn John.
For the recommendations.
Councillor Ian Johnson.
Obliged. For.
Councillor Susan Lloyd Selby.
For.
Councillor Belinda Lovelock Edwards.
For.
Councillor Julie Lynch Wilson.
For.
Councillor Kevin Marney. Councillor Naomi Marshalsea.
For.
Councillor Michael Morgan.
For.
Councillor Jane Norman.
For the recommendation.
Councillor Elliot Penn.
For the recommendations.
Councillor Sandra Perks.
For the recommendation.
Councillor Ian Perry.
For.
Councillor Joanna Prythro.
For.
Councillor Ruba Sivanianam.
For.
Councillor Caris Stallard.
Obliged. For.
Councillor Neil Thomas.
For.
Councillor Rhys Thomas.
Against.
Councillor Eddie Williams.
For the recommendation.
Councillor Mark Wilson.
For.
Councillor Nicholas Wood.
Against.
Thank you. That concludes the vote. I'll just do the maths.
That is 36 to 12 in favour. So the report has been approved. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 6, use of the Chief Executive's emergency powers. I think this is for noting only.
If I could move, Mayor.
Thank you, Leader. And second?
And I'll second that, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Agenda item 7 is the Scrutiny Committee's annual report 2022 to 23. I believe Councillor Thomas, as chair of this committee, I believe you'll be taking this. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. As chair of the Scrutiny Chairs and Vice Chairs group, I have pleasure in presenting the annual report of the 5 scrutiny committees. This has been produced in accordance with section 7.4.4 of the Council's Constitution and details the work undertaken by the Council's scrutiny committees in the past year and highlights some key achievements. You'll see from the report that the 5 scrutiny committees have been involved in a broad range of work and that future work programmes will consider a number of major issues going forward, as highlighted on pages 14 and 15 of the document. As also highlighted in my foreword in the document, local authorities continue to face significant financial pressure on top of existing demographic challenges, rising costs of care for vulnerable children and adults, and rising costs of living. I, along with scrutiny members, will continue to contribute to meet these challenges by acting as a critical friend to decision makers, supporting innovation in how the Council and its partners deliver services, and acting as the voice of the people when important decisions are being made. Figures on page 4 of the report in the scorecard box say 63.3% of scrutiny recommendations were agreed. Just to clarify, none of the other 36.7 were rejected. They were all noted. No recommendations were disapproved. I would also like to take this opportunity to remind the public who may be viewing this meeting that scrutiny committees are keen to hear from members of the public and other interested parties on matters before the committees and for suggestions of topics for future consideration and scrutiny. The report advises on how the public can engage with scrutiny, and we would certainly like to hear from you. I therefore present this report to full council on behalf of the 5 scrutiny committees. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas.
I move the report.
And I'll second, Mayor.
Thank you, Leader. Agenda item 8. Sorry, Councillor Franks.
Thank you. I've had a plea, Madam Mayor, for people to turn their mics off from the people at home. I just pass that on. But to go to the agenda item, I think it's important to say that much time and commitment is put into scrutiny. That goes almost without saying. However, I feel we're not drilling down enough into important tactics. Am I echoing, Chair, Madam Mayor?
Slightly.
Okay, well, press on. Okay.
Yes.
I think certainly I would benefit from more training and expertise, and I suspect a lot of other members would also benefit. And I must say there's too much time is spent thanking officers who indeed do work hard, but that's not the purpose of scrutiny. And also there is a tendency to consider any comment is being critical of officers and undermining their role, which is not the case. There's also far too much effort deployed to congratulate the cabinet. This simply is not scrutiny. We really do need to focus on the hard issues and bring matters to the attention of Cabinet that we feel should be brought to Cabinet. So I would like Councillor Thomas as the lead scrutineer to consider those points and perhaps respond. Thank you.
Councillor Thomas, would you like to reply?
Yes, certainly. In terms of thanking officers, I was brought up very old school. I've always believed that courtesy is an important factor in any relationship and in any interaction with other people, and I would not wish to see thanks and so forth, and that level of courtesy being dismissed. In terms of changing the way in which scrutiny is working, Councillor Franks will possibly not be aware, but scrutiny chairs and vice chairs are looking to change and make scrutiny more effective than it is even now. There are a number of proposals. We're at the last scrutiny chairs and vice chairs committee, which are under development, and basically we are going to change to try and make scrutiny more effective, to reduce the number of reports that are coming to scrutiny just for noting, and to have more reports in which the scrutiny committees can have a more positive input. So this is already in hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Councillor Ernest, a question, please.
Yes.
You've muted yourself, Anthony.
Right. I agree with Councillor Franks. It's not always that I do, but I think he's right. I think the job of scrutiny is to delve down into specific issues that are put before the committee, that members of the committee are able to put forward matters that they have concerns about, possibly. At our recent meetings, we've had several hundred pages of officer reports, which frankly, for any member of the committee, required an awful lot of time to go through and absorb the detail therein. I remember, because perhaps I'm slightly older, I remember committees of old when we really got down to the nitty-gritty of particular issues. And I'm sure my friend on the other side of the chamber would agree with me on that. I think we're overwhelmed with officer reports. We're underwhelmed with issues that members should be looking at in depth. And I recall back in the summer, we agreed in the E&R committee, set up a task and finish group. We're now at the end of September and we've heard nothing further about that particular group. So I'm simply supporting that. It's not a criticism, it's constructive criticism. And I hope that our committees, particularly E&R, will see a fuller agenda of more in-depth items in the future. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If I can come back, Madam Mayor. I refer Councillor Ernest to the reply that I gave to Councillor Franks, which covered a lot of what he's just raised. In terms of his latter point, certainly we do need to cut down on the amount of paperwork and so on, which is why we are looking to remove some of the things that are just for noting, as I say, and to make the reports more incisive. In terms of the task and finish, a number of task and finish projects were presented to scrutiny chairs and vice chairs. These have, through discussion amongst all of us, have now been the ones that we've already had have been prioritised. We can't do more than because of the lack of capacity within democratic services. We can't do more than one at a time, or start more than one at a time. We may well be able to overlap some, but that we are limited in officers' time and capacity to do a large number. But task and finish groups, as you might be aware, Councillor Ernest, in taking evidence and arranging meetings and so forth, can take some time to go through their each process. But they are all in the stream and will be done in orderly fashion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm grateful to the member for that.
Thank you both. The report is being moved and seconded. If there are no further comments, are we happy to accept this report? I see no dissent. Thank you very much. Agenda item 8 is to consider the following proposals for the executive in relation to the council's policy framework and budget. It's the annual Treasury Management Report 2022-23. Can I ask the leader to take us through that, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, this is a reference from Cabinet on the 6th of July 2023, and it was also referred to Corporate Performance and Resources Scrutiny Committee on the 19th of July 2023, where it was noted. Just in case of confusion, it's worth noting that there was actually a Q1 Treasury Monitoring Report which went to Cabinet on the 7th of September, and from there on to Governance and Audit Committee on the 18th of September. That is separate. That is the monitoring report for the Q1 of this year. But in terms of this report, the Council is required to produce an annual Treasury Management Review of activities and actual prudential and Treasury indicators for 2022-23. This report confirms that the Council complied with all the performance indicators set during 2022-23. The Council's borrowing requirement reduced during that year, and the Council borrowed 3 million during 2022-23 to refinance maturing debt. The Council held investments of 93.92 million as at 31st of March 2023. The double check, the Cabinet accepted the report when it came before them, as I said, referred it on to Corporate Performance and Resources Scrutiny Committee, and it's therefore being referred to full Council for our approval, and I would therefore move.
Thank you, Leader. Could I have a seconder, please?
And I'll second that, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Any comments? Anybody? No? Thank you. The report is approved. Thank you. Agenda item 9. This is for noting only. It's the proposed traffic regulation order for exceptions to Wales 20 miles per hour default speed limit and implementation of ancillary speed limits.
And I would move, Mayor.
Thank you. And seconder, please. Councillor Brooks.
And I'll second that, Mayor.
Thank you. That is for them too. Thank you very much. Agenda item 10. Questions and answers pursuant to section 4.9.2, 4.19.7 of the Council's Constitution. Question number 1 is from Councillor Marnie to the Deputy Leader and Cabinet Member for Sustainable Places. Councillor Brooks, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Marnie. The total cost of the scheme is £2.7 million, which includes all pre-construction work, including surveys, design, business case, professional fees, construction, site supervision, and also client fees. There was no financial cost to the council, and officer management fees were also funded. As it stands, there are no buses serving the Vale Dock interchange. These have been there have been service cancellations and reduced frequency of bus services across Wales, and this is following the decreased funding made available by Welsh Government as it moves from the more generous bus emergency scheme, commonly known as BES, to the less generous bus transition fund, which is known as the BTF. Our officers are in dialogue with both Adventure Travel and Cardiff Bus about running into and out of the interchange, but appreciating the predicament that bus operators are in, with a 30% drop in passenger numbers following COVID-19 pandemic, they are reluctant at this time to add time to current services or amend timetables, which could be at the detriment to other areas where their routes serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Councillor Marnie, supplementary.
Yeah, thank you, Simon.
I can't hear anything.
Is that any good? Okay, my apologies, technical issues at my end. Well, my question is, what sort of competent organisation provides a bus shelter? And I don't buy this, it's not council money, it's taxpayer money, which we're all paying, and that the people of Wales are paying for, builds a bus station with no routes. Thankfully, this council doesn't actually run a bus service, but surely you have to establish first with existing companies if they're ever going to run a bus route through it. We know about the cuts by the Labour government in Cardiff Bay, because our bus services in Surrey have been cancelled and cut to the bone. So who builds a 2.7 million bus terminal? And I've never seen a bike up there either. I've been up there several times, when you don't know there's going to be any bus services running there. And that's my answer, my question. Thank you.
Councillor Brooks.
All I can simply add to that is the new Ballydock interchange is part of the Metro Enhanced Framework that's being taken forward by the Cardiff Capital Region, which the Vale of Glamorgan Council is a member of. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Question number 2, Councillor Marnie to Councillor Brooks, please. It's concerning air quality monitoring.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Marnie, for the question. Each autumn, Cabinet receives the latest air quality monitoring annual progress report for the Vale of Glamorgan council area. With that in mind, the most recent air quality annual progress report is the 2022 report, which reviews air quality data attained in 2021. This report sets out the locations of some 47 static air quality monitoring locations, together with the air quality results obtained from them for nitrogen dioxide pollutant. So for the purposes of this question, the 2022 report would provide the most recently published baseline of air quality monitoring data, and that's prior to the recent introduction of 20-mile-an-hour speed limit on certain roads. And this will soon be updated with when the 2023 report is published in the coming weeks. As for the air quality picture, after the recent introduction of the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit on certain roads, full year data will not be available until the 2024 results are reviewed and published in the 2025 annual progress report, which will then be considered by Cabinet in the autumn of 2025. Thank you.
Councillor Brooks. Councillor Marnie, supplementary.
Well, thank you for that. That clearly answers my question. So a year's time, we'll get the new readings, as it were, after this 20-mile-an-hour thing. And would I have to keep badgering for the new report, or will it be widely publicised, the one that's coming out now about the 20-mile-an-hour? Thanks.
Councillor Brooks, would you like to reply to that?
Well, it's a cabinet report that will be covered just in due course, and obviously those cabinet reports and the links to that cabinet report are sent to every councillor. So Councillor Marnie will have access to it, same as everybody else has to.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Thank you, Councillor Marnie, for your question. Question number 3 from Councillor Charles to the Cabinet Member for Social Care and Health. Means testing for armed forces. Councillor Williams, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Charles. So thank you for the question. I've been advised by my colleagues in the Benefit Service that the military compensation has been excluded from housing benefit for many years, at least as far back as 1999. For the Council Tax Reduction Scheme, the same provisions have been in place since April 2013, when the scheme was started. Prior to this, it was Council Tax Benefit, which was in line with housing benefit as far back as at least 1999. Regarding Disability Facilities Grant, regarding Disabled Facilities Grant, the current housing renewals policy has been in place since 2014. Recognising that's been on for some time, I'm expecting a revised independent living policy to be brought to Cabinet in the coming months. Recognising the answer to your question, then these policies have been in for some time, so therefore the military compensation has been excluded from means testing. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Williams. Councillor Charles, supplementary.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Cabinet Member. Does the Cabinet Member know how many veterans received adverse awards as a result of Disabled Facilities Grant being incorrectly means tested? And is there a timescale for veterans receiving this, or will they be automatic rebates, or will they have to apply themselves?
Thanks, Councillor Charge. As I said in the last council meeting, if you give me the specifics, then I can answer those questions. I can find, can get the officers to look into them. I'm pretty sure that we, as a council, are one of the better performing councils regarding compensation and the payments and means testing. So to suggest that we're not actually doing that is quite frustrating for me, because clearly I can't answer the detail, the numbers, when I don't, I'm not aware of that question prior to this meeting. So please, any members are able to ask me the questions prior to the council, and I can bring you a full answer, rather than, as we've done now, I can't give you any answer except an assertion that we as a council fully support the covenant, and we are doing all we can, and the policies are in place to support the armed forces and the veterans and the families. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Question number 5 to the Cabinet Member for Neighbourhood Sport. Sorry, I am getting ahead of myself here. Sorry, question number 4 from Councillor Carroll to the Executive Leader and Cabinet Member, Performance and Resources. Leader, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Carroll. At the moment, we're not planning to roll out 4-day working week provisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Carroll, supplementary, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and I thank the leader for her answer. With council tax going up, charges introduced for garden waste collections and cuts to black bag collections, residents feel that the council's performance has deteriorated over the past 12 months. Given that moving to a 4-day working week will likely make performance even worse, will the leader please categorically rule it out for the long term?
Thank you, Councillor Carroll. You've made a lot of assertions there that I don't recognise. I'm sorry. But what I can say is, it will be interesting to see the evaluation report to the Workforce Partnership Council, which I understand is being presented in November this year following pilots in Wales. But I think I also would add is that we value our employees. We value our employees for the superb job that they do on behalf of residents in Wales. And the ability to offer flexibility to staff in the context of supporting them to deliver excellent quality of services is one approach that we already adopt. So I disagree with your assertions, and I will wait for the outcomes of the Workforce Partnership Council in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Now we'll be moving on to question number 5.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you very much, Councillor Carroll, for your question. This is my reply. I can advise that the service does not collect this data, although it's recognised that this service may occasionally run behind. You will know that we have a 72-hour contingency period we've written into the terms and conditions of the new service.
Councillor Carroll?
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and I thank the Cabinet Member for his answer. As he's recognised, there have been several instances where they have garden waste collections haven't taken place on the set day. Given that residents are now paying for this service, can they expect a refund if collections don't take place on the date advertised?
Councillor Wilson?
Yes. In my response, the 72-hour rule is in the contingency plan. That is part of the agreement we have with residents who are paying for that, and that's my answer.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Question number 6 from Councillor Carroll regarding to the leader regarding complaints and criticisms of the council's performance on social media.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Carroll. The Council's social media policy sets out how we aim to engage with citizens online. This is published on the Council's website.
Thank you, Councillor Carroll.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and I thank the leader for her answer. Will the leader please confirm that no member of council staff has been instructed by the authority to use their own personal social media account to defend the council's performance on social media?
I would be hugely surprised if that was the case. And if you have any specific details, I would like you to provide me with accurate information. But as you know only too well, posts which have been put out by members of this council have had to be publicly disputed for their lack of accuracy. So if you could provide accurate details, I will look into it.
And transport from Councillor Carroll, review of speed limits in the Vale of Glamorgan. Councillor Wilson, please.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you very much, Councillor Carroll, for your question. And this is my reply. I do not accept the word blanket in your question. This is indeed a gross exaggeration and has led people to think that every road is now 20 miles per hour, including exemptions and out-of-scope roads where the speed limit is 40 miles per hour or higher. I can advise that the council will monitor exception roads, remain at 30 miles per hour and undertake reviews of those and other roads within its local area, and where concerns are raised to ensure that as far as reasonable and practical speed limits are suitable for the conditions. And that is my answer.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Carroll?
Yes, thank the Cabinet Member for his answer. Several exemptions to the blanket 20 miles per hour speed limits have been brought forward by the Council using the urgent decision procedure. Given that it was not possible to call this into scrutiny committee, what opportunities will be provided to councillors to scrutinise these decisions?
Thank you very much for your answer. As you know, we had a considerable amount of consultation in the summer over these exemptions where members and members of the public had the opportunity to respond. And that is my answer.
Councillor Wilson. Question number 8 from Councillor Carroll to Councillor Wilson concerning the update on operational performance of black bag waste collections for flats. Councillor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you very much, Councillor Carroll, for your question. This is my answer. You asked for an update on operational performance of black bag collections for flats, but it is unclear from your question as to precisely what information you are seeking. I can, however, advise that the tonnage of black bags from flats and apartments is not separated from the mainstream collection service, so it is not possible to identify the individual performance. Although it's fair to say that it's remained largely static since the introduction of free weekly rates for the majority of residents. And that is my answer.
Thank you. Supplementary, Councillor Carroll.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Collections from the communal waste area at Willowmere in Landock have been missed frequently since the new system came into force. What action is being taken by the council to ensure that this is addressed?
Thank you very much for your answer, and Councillor Cowell. If you could bring that to my attention, because I was not aware of this, if you could email me and I will respond accordingly. Thank you.
Question number 9 is from Councillor Johnson to the Cabinet Member for Neighbourhood and Building Services concerning Barry Docks Transport Interchange. Councillor Wilson, please.
Thank you very much for your question. Councillor Johnson, thank you for the Mayor for presenting it. I refer to the answer to question 1. That is my answer.
Councillor Johnson, supplementary.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm surprised to have a different person answering this question than question 1, if it's only going to be referred to question 1. Firstly, Mayor, I'd actually like to thank our officers for delivering the bus interchange. I think actually a great deal of work has gone on to deliver that. The shame is in the fact that that doesn't link in well with how the services are supposed to operate from there. In line with the earlier conversation regarding the Cardiff Capital Region Corporate Joint South East Wales Corporate Joint Committee, what conversations is either Councillor Wilson or Councillor Brooks having with other authorities and with Welsh governments with regards to ensuring that appropriate revenue funding is found for bus services in the future, rather than have a situation where the left-hand clear doesn't know what the right one is doing?
Okay, can I respond to that? As a member of the Cabinet, and we have regular meetings and with our fellow Cabinet members to discuss this, and we lobby Welsh Government along with other local authorities to get a bigger chunk of available funding. And that's my answer.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Question number 10 is from Councillor Johnson to Councillor Wilson regarding lessons learned from default speed limit.
Thank you very much, Councillor Johnson, for your question, and thank you for presenting that, Mayor. I do not consider it's appropriate or sensible to compare the two processes of legislation required at this time. Quite simply, it is premature. However, I can confirm the Council will fully engage with the Welsh Government when the consultation is published for the aim of achieving the most favourable arrangements for this Council to be able to manage and enforce pavement parking infringements. That's my answer.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Johnson, supplementary, please.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson.
You're muted.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. I appreciate your comments regarding prematureness. I'd call it thinking ahead. We've just had a process which is likely to be similar in terms of creating exemptions, and I'm looking to understand what you've learned from this so far, because we're going to have something similar going forward shortly.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. I got nothing further to add.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Question number 11 from Councillor Johnson to Councillor Sivanyanam. It's concerning carbon intensive developments.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson, for this question. As I'm sure you're aware, Natural Resources Wales are a key consultee on the current planning applications for this, and they're responsible for permitting the plant. Both the assessment of the planning applications and NRW's decision whether to grant a permit involve assessments of the likely environmental impacts, including carbon dioxide, to ensure that the developments are only granted planning permission where there isn't unacceptable environmental impact.
Councillor Johnson.
Thank you very much. That kind of sounds like the council doesn't want to take any responsibility for planning policy decisions that are being implemented within the area. How will the council ensure there's a realistic plan to meet net zero by 2035 if we consider that carbon intensive planning permissions may simply take place without our agreement?
Councillor Savignano, please.
Well, Councillor Johnson, I would refer you to my earlier answer. We are consulting with the experts in this area, and as we are assessing the planning application at the moment, we can't categorically say whether the applicants are meeting their environmental responsibility either way at this stage. So, we are consulting with the experts in this area.
Thank you, Councillor Sonia. Question number 12 from Councillor Johnson.
Mayor, you appear to have muted yourself while introducing that.
Where? Sorry, carry on. Shall I start again? Yes. Yep, I'll start again. Sorry. Question number 12 from Councillor Johnson to Councillor Sivanyanam. Regularisation of a development. Thank you, Councillor Sivanyanam.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Johnson. Again, as you'll be aware from the member briefing we had last year and ongoing information from the planning department, the council's legal advice is that the permission was granted and the absence of an EIA with the previous application does not negate the permission or prevent it from being lawfully implemented. Furthermore, in the absence of a court quashing the permission, it remains, as you say, extant. Notwithstanding this, the current applications seek to regularise the development as built and are capable of being assessed on their merits. And there is currently an EIA with these current applications.
Thank you, Councillor Sivanyanam. Councillor Johnson.
Thank you very much. I mean, we are notwithstanding the legal advice, and I'm not quite sure where that came from. We're no further. The answer doesn't take us any further on, because how on earth can you say can anybody say that the 2015 planning permission should have been granted when it was clearly deficient due to the lack of an EIA as part of the regulations?
Councillor Sivanyanam.
Well, again, I refer Councillor Johnson to my earlier answer, and he's well aware that we had council's advice on this, that the EIA would not have affected the lawfulness of that planning, the planning consent.
Sivanyanam. Question number 13 from Councillor Cow to the Executive Leader, Cabinet Member for Performance and Resources, the Leader, funding for transport infrastructure in Wales. Leader, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Cowp. I'm not aware of PMQs in July 2023, but in the budget speech on the 15th of March 2023, 180 million in terms of consequentials was announced over a 2-year period. To date, no specific information on the £180 million funding for transport infrastructure has been received by the council. When I'm made aware of that, then I will be able to let you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Question number 14. To the Cabinet, from Councillor Cowp to the Cabinet Member for Leisure, Sport and Wellbeing.
Thank you, Mayor, very much.
Community Support Officer, PCSO's numbers in the Vale of Glamorgan. Councillor John, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you for the question, Councillor Cope. I would firstly advise you that we do not recognise the statistics provided. Currently, there are 35 PCSOs covering every ward in the Vale of Glamorgan. The area allocations and numbers of PCSOs is a decision made by the Police and Crime Commissioner and the Chief Constable. Therefore, any concerns regarding this matter should be really addressed to them. However, if you are able to provide me with the details of the source of your data, I will ask my officers to seek a response to this data from the police. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor John.
May I come back, Chair?
Yes, Councillor Cow.
Thank you, Councillor. Yes, these figures came from the police. I'm happy to send them in for you, and for you to. There may be a good reason for it, but I don't know what it is. I'll send them in, and then you can ask the question.
Yeah, well, if you email it over to me, I'll be very happy. Thank you very much. But in the meantime, as I said in my answer, you should be consulting the Police and Crime Commissioner. Thank you.
Well, thank you. My question was how the Vale felt about it. I'll send them to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cobb. Thank you, Councillor John. Question number 15 from Councillor Hooper to the Leader regarding the waterfront development. Leader, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Hooper. I am a bit surprised at the questions, given that Councillor Hooper was present at the community meeting I arranged for Monday of last week. There, we listened to the discussion and the various answers given by both myself and officers to wide-ranging questions. That includes very detailed answers given to the Chief Executive at the meeting to questions of the same nature as that asked this evening. In addition, as I made members aware at the beginning of the meeting, all information and updates from that meeting are now live on the Participate Vale website, and weekly updates will be provided going forward. Thank you.
Councillor Hooper, supplementary.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Leader. The question asks about what happened between December and now, Leader, and I think this is a public forum where everyone can hear your answers. So perhaps if you could answer the question that's been put in front of you, what legal processes occurred since, I think it's the 5th of December to the other day when the injunction's taken place or about to take place. So I asked for a specific question. You've had this question for enough time now. I expect a specific answer, as do the residents of the waterfront. Thank you.
I think the residents of the waterfront have had ongoing updates, but if you want it repeated, what I will say is I've actually been having conversations with the consortium going back nearly 10 years now. I was actually looking at some of the photos over the weekend. In terms of Section 106, bear in mind the waterfront development is not a council development. The council was not the owner of that land. The council is purely the planning authority. The council deals with the legal obligations that are set out in the Section 106 agreement and the planning obligations. And there are also details on that, which the Chief Executive explained, that means that legal processes have to be followed in terms of rectifying any outstanding areas of infrastructure. There is a period of mitigation that is not mitigation, of mediation that is required within these negotiations. Our officers probably spend far too much of their time and in negotiations and mediation with the waterfront consortium. There come times when we say enough is enough. That time came with the waterfront school. That time came with the district centre. On other occasions, with the actual construction of the road, the second road into the island, which, as I said, was going back, I think it was 2014. We actually worked with Welsh Government to put loan facilities, interest-free loan facilities in place to actually help the consortium to act. They didn't draw down on that facility. So there come times when we take action. This is such a time. We are taking action. And as we said in our robust meeting with the consortium last Wednesday, that we do expect, and we already have received the first update against project plan. But no, we will not be stopping the legal action, and that moves forward. Thank you, Councillor Hooper.
Thank you, Leader. Question number 16 from Councillor Franks. Regarding the to Councillor Sivagnana, regarding the former St Cyrus site. Councillor Sivagnana.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Franks. Discussions are ongoing with Barrett regarding various works that the house builder must actually physically complete at the community and recreational use zone at Murch Road and Dinas Powys. These are works that must be completed before the 7 acres of land can be transferred by the house builder to the Vale of Glamorgan. And it's anticipated that works will be completed by Barrett during the autumn.
Thank you, Councillor Sivignan. Councillor Franks, supplementary.
Thank you for that answer. It's the autumn now. Can you be perhaps a little bit more specific? I'm sure you're aware of the huge frustration that exists locally. The residents of the new area and across Dinas Powys are very frustrated at the lack of progress on this, and I look forward to a precise date when the matter will be resolved. Thank you.
I can't give you a precise date. However, we will be robust in seeking the completion of these works, which are, as you've suggested, are important to the community as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sivignan. Question number 17 from Councillor Franks to the leader regarding Seal Park. Leader, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Franks. I'm advised that you were provided with an update on this matter by the Director of Environment and Housing via an email to Dinas Powys Community Council, Councillor, to which you were copied on the 13th of September 2023. As advised then, the delay in presenting the land transfer report to Cabinet for its consideration is down to our technical officers not yet receiving the land valuation report from the externally appointed valuer. As I understand, you've also been advised a Cabinet report on this matter has been prepared in draft, and all that is required to complete the report is the land valuation information. Unfortunately, there's a significant demand for land valuation work at this time, and therefore delays with reports being returned. We're expecting the land valuation back before the end of September 2023, and the Cabinet report will be presented to Cabinet following. Thank you.
Well, that's encouraging, I think. I must say, though, that the delay, the unacceptable delay, is bringing the council into disrepute. This report to Cabinet was drafted in April, and okay, I'm grateful for your information, and I look forward to the end of September. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Franks. Moving on to question number 18 from Councillor Franks to Councillor Birch regarding school budgets. Councillor Birch, please.
Thank you for the question, Madam Mayor, and thank you for the question, Councillor Franks. There are currently 21 schools that are anticipating a deficit budget by the end of the current financial year. The regulations state that schools that find themselves in a deficit position must submit a 3-year recovery plan. There are only 3 schools that are able to balance a 3-year recovery plan, and therefore there are 18 schools that are currently in a non-recoverable budget situation. Limited additional financial support is available to support schools this year. 2.3 million has been ring-fenced for energy costs and will be allocated based on the bills received. Additional funding of 200,000 has also been allocated from reserves to schools in special measures. This funding has been allocated to support the schools with additional staff and training. A further 850,000 for additional learning needs has also been allocated to schools from reserves. Officers and colleagues from the Central South Consortium continue to work closely with all schools, offering specialist advice in order to ensure that schools remain operational and are appropriately staffed.
Councillor Birch. Councillor Franks.
Thank you, Cabinet Member. I lost a little bit due to technical issues, but I think I I've got the gist of your reply. How can you assure the public that these schools will be able to provide an adequate level of education over the next year, given the current budgetary problems?
I think I have already answered that in saying that the officers are working with the schools, their budget, in order to make sure that those services are maintained.
Thank you, Councillor Birch.
Chair, could I say I couldn't hear again? It was no. I think I got the gist, but what I'm saying is it's a very poor quality line.
We should all be back in there.
So you've registered your
Yes.
you heard right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Question number 19 from Councillor Bruce to the leader, please, regarding bin usage feasibility study on Fonmon Road, Roos. Leader, please.
No.
Not you?
No, I think it's for me. For the Cabinet Member for Neighbourhood and Building Services, question 19. Do you want to check, Mayor?
Who's taking it? Yeah, but who is this to? It is, yeah. Okay. Okay, I will start again. Question number 19 from Councillor Bruce to the Cabinet Member for Neighbourhood and Building Services, Councillor Wilson, regarding bin usage feasibility study on Fonmon Road, Roos, please.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Bruce, for your question. This is my response. Officers have reviewed the usage of litter bins in the area of Fonmon Road, Roos, and established there is some litter bin abuse, as well as a bin capacity issue. That means that there is a requirement for one additional litter bin in this area. As a result, I will arrange for the officer within the service to contact local ward members to agree a location where the new bin can be installed, as well as ensuring that any bin abuse is followed up by the council's enforcement team. And that is my answer.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson.
Thank you. No response.
Thank you. Question number 20 from Councillor Hennessy to Councillor Wilson regarding communal cuts. Sorry. Councillor Wilson.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you very much, Councillor Hennessy, for your question on communal cuts. Okay, this is my reply. For the financial year 23-24, there are no plans to reduce grass cutting to 5 cuts per year. There will be, in fact, be a total of 8 cuts this year and 1 cut in early March 2024, and that is my answer.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Question number 21 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Wilson, hazard warning signs for horses. Councillor Wilson, please.
Thank you much, Mayor, and thank you very much, Councillor Perry, for your question. Across the county, 64 signs have been installed. There is no intention to remove any at present, and that is my answer.
Okay, as a quick supplementary. Yeah, yep. If I may. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, because there are also these very, very tiny little small stickers on lampposts to direct the people on horseback who are sort of carrying binoculars, because they're so small. If you're on horseback, you're up there and they're over here. It doesn't seem to be that well planned. But the question is, would this warning signage be necessary where there is a speed limit of 20 miles per hour?
Very good. All right, my response is it's common practice in the UK. This is what I'm telling you what legislation says, to install a wooden horse road sign in country lanes or where bridleways cross the road. The signs alert drivers to potential presence of horse riders on the roads. They are in place for the safety of all road users. The project being referred to is being delivered by the Public Works Way team and aims to provide safer access opportunities for horse and bike riders. As the routes adjoin the highway in some areas, the sign seeks to ensure the safety of existing local users, but also for the additional users once the route is final and published. I will also further add that with 20 miles per hour, I would have thought it'd be safer for almost every type of user, including horse riders. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Question number 22 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Wilson regarding the costs of installing speed limit signs.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you very much, Councillor Perry, for your question. The cost to install a standard 76mm diameter post with a 600mm diameter regulatory sign together with the necessary traffic management is on average £1,044.52. And that's my answer.
Councillor Wilson?
Yep.
Yes.
And can I just ask when the signage installation will be completed? Do you know yet?
I'm happy to find that out for you, and you can send me an email just to back it up. That would be appreciated.
Yeah, because there's a few prime examples where it's kind of necessary.
I have answered your question, Councillor Perry.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Question number 23 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Wilson regarding the new speed limit signage in Bondleston. Councillor Wilson, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Perry, for your question. The answer is straightforward and has nothing to do with value for money or otherwise. In order to achieve compliance with relevant order made by Welsh Government, it has been necessary to provide appropriate signage to reflect the legal position and default 20 mph speed limit. And that's my answer.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Perry.
Yeah, it's not really answering the question, and there are inconsistencies when you've got a 27.2 metre wide street with one street light apparently defaulting, but it was 40 miles an hour before, as far as I believe. And then you've got, for example, St George's, which is a small hamlet village where people are still driving through lawfully at 60 miles an hour. Is that consistent?
Thank you.
I would refer yours to the Cabinet report and the exceptions report, which was presented to Cabinet in September, as you know, and they were the answers from there. And I've got nothing further to add.
Do you agree complete with that report?
That is not. Perry. You've had your reply. Sorry. Thank you. Question number 24 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Wilson regarding the new 20 mph speed limit within St Nicholas. Councillor Wilson, please.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Perry, for your question. The subject of 20 mph rollout across the Vale was subject to consultation, and the recent Cabinet report documented all consultation responses, and it's just the same. I have no intention of rehearsing specific issues at Council, and will invite you to read the report in detail.
Which I did. Perhaps you should have.
Councillor, I haven't invited you to speak. You should know by now. Thank you.
It'll take me 2 or 3 years to get used to it.
Councillor, are you having a supplementary question?
I'll pass on this occasion. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you. Question number 25 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Wilson. Reduction of road noise. Councillor Wilson, please.
Thank you very much, Councillor Perry, and thank you very much, Madam Mayor, for presenting the question. This is my reply. As advised to your earlier question, the subject 20 mph rollout was subject to consultation. The original Cabinet report documented all consultation responses, and it's just the same. I have no intention of rehearsing issues at Council and invite you to read the report in detail. I am aware of your concerns over noise in relation to St Nicholas, and I'm also aware, as you are, that these have been considered and addressed in detail in previous extensive correspondence with the Council. And that's my answer.
Councillor Wilson. Councillor Perry, yes.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Given your answer and intonation, what level of confidence may the public have that the Council actually cares for their health and well-being?
Councillor Wilson.
Thank you very much. I think we care an awful lot about the Council's well-being, as you can witness it by our corporate plans and our many service plans that we produce, as you no doubt are aware of. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Question number 26 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Wilson regarding the speed limits near villages. Councillor Wilson, please.
Thank you very much, Councillor Perry, and thank you, Madam Mayor, for presenting the question. Again, please refer to the Cabinet report, which details all responses and assessments of the same.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Perry, yes.
Yeah, given that speed limits on major motorways are now reduced to 50 miles an hour from 70 and frequently reduced to 40 miles an hour, even where they are 70 due to the conditions, and you often driving at 20 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour on motorways, don't you think it's a bit strange that we are sticking Bombleston at 40 miles an hour, which is higher than some motorway speeds, just because it's carrying on occasion motorway traffic? There doesn't seem to be any sort of research or joined up thinking.
Thank you. Councillor Wilson, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for your supplementary. The Council's Cabinet considered and agreed a detailed and comprehensive objection report on proposed traffic road order for exemptions to Wales 20 miles speed limit and limitation on Zanley speed on Thursday, the 7th September 2023. This included an exception to the A48 Cowbridge Road through St Nicholas. A copy of the objection report is available on the Council's website, along with the minutes of the Cabinet meeting held on 7th September. The Council is not responsible for setting speed limits on trunk roads or for setting exceptions to the default 20 miles per speed limit on any trunk road, and this will be a matter for the Welsh Government and their South Wales Trunk Road Agent, which is SUTA. The speed limit generally on motorways is the national speed limit unless indicated otherwise on smart motorways to assist with reducing congestion. The council is responsible for setting speed limits on its local roads, and I can confirm that the council will monitor and undertake reviews of roads within its local area at an appropriate time, such as resource and funding. Any speed limit will be in accordance with update awaited from Welsh Government in relation to Circular 24/2009 setting local speed limits in Wales to ensure that as far as possible all the roads are suitable conditions to the needs of the local community and consistent with policy objectives.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I do wonder who wrote it.
Thank you. Question number 27 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Wilson regarding Tree Hill Protected Crossing. Councillor Wilson, please.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you very much, Councillor Perry, for your question. Again, please refer to the Cabinet report, which details all response and assessments of the same, given his net. Another question relates to specifics of a 20-mile-per-hour rollout.
Councillor Perry, yes, go ahead.
Yep, the question was actually about the contents of that report, but the supplementary question would be, do you agree that there are holes in the local knowledge of the Highway Authority?
Councillor Wilson.
Depends how you define a hole, isn't it, Councillor Perry? So thank you.
The lack of knowledge.
No, I'm not having a debate. It's not a debate, Councillor Perry.
Thank you. Question number 28 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Brooks regarding bus stops in Barry. Councillor Brooks, please.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Perry. I would refer Councillor Perry to the earlier question, or to the earlier answer, should I say, on the Barry Docks interchange, and also refer to the fact that Service 98 is not in operation now.
Councillor Brooks. Councillor Perry.
Yeah, supplementary question, please. How many bus services and buses per hour can the 4 bus stops that have been installed accommodate?
Thank you. Councillor Brooks.
That will be for discussions with the Regional Transport Authority and the bus services. So that is all for future discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Question number 29 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Brooks regarding the bus stop at Cottrell Gardens, Bombleston. Councillor Brooks, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Perry. The nearest westbound bus stop facility is located on the A48 opposite Sheep's Court Farm, which is some 400 metres from the entrance to the new development at Cottrell Gardens, Boverton. Whilst the distance is not unreasonable, I do accept that accessibility to this bus stop is problematic, as it requires pedestrians to cross the wide A48 road without any control crossing and no drop curb facilities to assist mobility impaired users. We will, of course, consider all future funding opportunities to make necessary improvements which provide a safe and convenient access to the westbound bus stop facilities for the benefit of all residents in the area, including those at Cottrell Gardens. Thank you.
Councillor Perry, yes.
Yes, thank you very much. More of a comment on the question, but obviously City Deal, Cardiff Capital Region's got money for bus interchanges, and perhaps they need to, or could be poked into prioritising where there is a clear need for an additional bus stop.
Thank you, Councillor Perry. Question number 30 from Councillor Perry to Councillor. Sorry. Did you want to reply to that last statement from Councillor Perry?
Yeah, I would just reiterate that we will, of course, consider all funding or future funding opportunities to make those necessary improvements. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question number 30 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Birch regarding children crossing roads. Councillor Birch, please.
The council does not hold or collect this data. However, if you wish to discuss any issues with school transport colleagues, I would advise you to contact the council's passenger transport team direct.
Councillor Perry, yes.
Okay, yeah, well, I know there are several where it's 60 miles an hour, for example, and there are others where there's no crossing where it's 40 miles an hour, which is obviously of concern to people who have concern with children. I'm just wondering if the Cabinet is concerned that several children are crossing a main road in the morning and in the afternoon where the speed limit is 60 miles an hour, and elsewhere where there's no protected crossing in a village where it's 40 miles an hour. The speed limits are probably inappropriate and there are no protected crossings.
Thank you. Councillor Birch.
Thank you. Obviously, the Cabinet and the Education Department and the School Transport Service would be concerned. If you'd like to provide me with specifics, then I can give you a more detailed answer.
Thank you, Councillor Birch. Question number 31 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Wilson regarding unlawful landfilling and fly tipping. Councillor Wilson, please.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you very much, Councillor Perry, for your question. I assume you are referring to the 5 mile lane scheme, and the short answer is that there is no intentional unlawful landfilling or fly tipping. As a result, the fuss is flawed, and what you ask is of no relevance. And that's my answer.
Well, there's a retrospective planning application. So how did it get there, and where was the scrutiny? If there needs to be a retrospective planning application there was no lawful right to put the material where it is. So I don't quite understand what that question. There seems to be a lack of scrutiny, a lack of, as I said in my question, there's something wrong here. What's wrong with the institution that's allowed this to happen?
That is not a question, Councillor Perry. That's a statement.
Well, there was a what in there, which is a question. What is wrong with the council that's allowed this to happen?
I do not have a question there, so I'm not going to answer it. So thank you.
There was definitely a question there in the English language.
Councillor Perry. I didn't hear any question there, Councillor.
Well, can I repeat it very slowly?
No.
I think you've had a chance, Councillor Perry.
What is wrong with the institution that's allowed this to happen?
Sorry, Councillor Perry. Thank you. Moving on to question number 32 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Wilson, public input on design and build contracts. Councillor Wilson, please.
Thank you very much, Matt, and thank you, Councillor Perry, for your question. Then my answer is proposed work for the realigned A4226 for subject to a planning application described as follows, and I quote, proposals is for online improvements to the existing A4226 between Waycott Cross roundabout in Barry and the lay-by to the north of the Welsh Hawkins Centre, and offline new road provision to the east of the existing A4226, which will connect with the existing A4226 just to the south of Blackburn Farm. Deemed planning consent was granted in December 2016, subject to appropriate conditions. You can access all the planning documents for the 5 mile lane scheme, I should say, via the council's planning portal. Based on the above information, I cannot accept your allegation that there was no opportunity for the public to have any input in design for this scheme. That's my answer.
Councillor Perry, go ahead, please.
Yeah, what opportunity do we have to discuss the removal of the Roman fort that lay at Wittenmauer? Because I follow those documents. I never saw anything about we will remove the Roman villa.
No, Councillor Wilson.
All right, thank you for that. I do not bear any relation to your previous question, so I do not need to answer it.
Well, the road went straight through it.
Thank you. Councillor Perry, please. Thank you. Question number 33 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Brooks regarding plans for Llangharfen school site. Councillor Brooks, please.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Perry. This was raised by an email by yourself, to which you received a response on the 19th of September 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Yes, Councillor Perry.
Yes, I did, and that email referred me to minutes from 18 months ago, which promised a
Can you
review
just ask
of.
a quick question, please, Councillor Perry?
Yeah, but
supplementaries are for questions.
yeah, okay.
Thank you.
When will the review that was talked about in the link to the minutes that was from 18 months ago of playing fields and public open space in Llangharfen be actually done? Because it's 18 months since that minute was written, and there's no information in the last 18 months. It was March 2022, prior to me being elected.
Thank you.
I understand this. I understand this was responded to in your response. Thank you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was 80 Saturday.
Thank you, Councillor Perry. Question number 34, Councillor Perry, from Councillor Perry to Councillor Brooks regarding public open space at Llangharfen. Councillor Brooks, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Perry. Prior to the land being offered on the open market, the availability of the land was made known to Llangharfen Community Council and the Local Service Board Asset Management Group. No interest in the site was forthcoming.
Question number 35 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Birch regarding pick-up drop-off loops within school grounds. Councillor Birch, please.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Perry. Thank you, Councillor Afiat, for your referral. No one is forcing anyone into difficult decisions. Furthermore, the detailed matters relating to the planning of St Nicholas Primary School have been the subject of considerable correspondence between you and officers for a considerable time, and you have received detailed answers to points such as this already.
Councillor Perry.
Yeah, with South Point School's pick-up drop-off loop remaining closed and the similar one at St Nicholas, were any lessons learnt from the building of, or design and building of the school at South Point? Because we seem to be repeating the same mistakes and not learning anything.
Thank you. Good question, Councillor Perry. Councillor Birch.
Well, I would disagree with your assessment of that. If you want to tell me that, send me the specific details you think that we should have learned from, I would be happy to look at that if you send it me by email.
Yeah, it's closed. It's still closed, and you built another one.
Thank you, Councillor Perry. Question number 36 from Councillor Perry to Councillor Brooks regarding trees in St Nicholas. Councillor Brooks, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Perry. I would respectfully point out that you've raised this already during the application stage, and I've seen numerous emails from yourself on this topic. I've nothing further to add to the very detailed replies already provided to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like, can I come in?
Sorry, Councillor Perry, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I've got residents who are very despondent, and I think it's not just in this is just one example of the despondency, and we've heard today about social media residents being despondent and disappointed. Obviously in this case, no site visit took place, a planning application failed. Are you disappointed
Councillor?
that there's been
Councillor Perry,
no
can you just
proper
ask the
site
question,
visit?
please? Councillor,
The question is, are you disappointed that there's been no proper site visit taking place with this controversial scheme?
What I am disappointed is that you keep raising questions to something you've had very detailed responses on. Thank you.
There's holes in those
Thank
answers.
you, Councillor Brooks. Thank you, Councillor Perry. Moving on to questions from the public. I understand.
Mayor,
yes.
Mayor, can I mention we have not received a link to Mr. Max Wallace, so he is not in attendance at the meeting at the moment. Can I also mention that Councillor Stephen William has joined during the meeting for the record? Okay, thank you.
So I'll just go to the leader for a reply to question number 1 from Mr M Wallace regarding 20-mile-per-hour exception roads. Please, Leader.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mr Wallace. The Council's traffic officers will monitor exception roads remaining at 30 mile an hour and undertake reviews of those and other roads within the Vale where concerns are raised to ensure that, as far as reasonable and practicable, speed limits are suitable for the conditions. The public can contact the council regarding such matters through its normal channels via the website and contact centre. Any future reviews will be carried out after a suitable bedding in period for the default 20 mile an hour speed limit and based upon updated guidance which is awaited from Welsh Government in relation to circular number 24/2009 setting local speed limits in Wales, with no date yet available from Welsh Government as to when this will be published. It's also the case that any monitoring and reviews will be subject to budgets and resources available at the time, given the likely demand, and this was specifically referenced throughout the objection report considered by Cabinet. Where necessary, the future assessment or review of roads will likely be prioritised according to safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Question number 2 from Mr D Clark to Councillor Sivanyanam regarding planning application for the incinerator at David Davis Road. Councillor Sivanyanam, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mr Clark, for your question. The Council's Planning Committee will consider the development as proposed, having regard to the Council's own adopted local development plan, all national policies that are relevant and that are contained within the Planning Policy Wales, specifically Edition 11, the Future Wales, the National Plan for 2040, and all other relevant material planning considerations. The Planning Committee will reach a decision after considering a report which contains a detailed assessment of all relevant material factors. And it's also important to note that that the current applications include a relevant environmental impact assessment, and this will of course form part of the consideration in the current applications, which will be assessed on their own merits. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Sivanyanam. Question number 3 from Mr L Mack to the Leader regarding flood assessments. Leader, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mr Mack. The Council has a statutory responsibility under the Civil Contingencies Act 2004 to prepare plans for civil protection and respond to emergency situations that affect the Vale of Glamorgan, and that including flooding. The Council has a flood response plan in place which was ratified through the Vale Flood Forum, including representation by the Fire and Rescue Service and Natural Resources Wales. The flood response plan identifies the role of relevant emergency responders and other relevant organisations and the key procedures to be followed in the event of a flooding incident. There is no statutory duty or function associated with the lead local flood authority to undertake anything similar to an appropriate flood assessment as referred to by Mr Mack. The flood response plan is currently being refreshed, but there are no plans to undertake a specific assessment or implement special measures relating to this site. NRW, National Resources Wales, flood warnings are available for the areas identified at potential risk of tidal flooding around the Barry Docks via their website. It appears that the current level of tidal flood risk may have been overinterpreted as the present day 0.5% annual exceedance probably, which is an event with a 1 in 200 chance of happening annually. Tidal flood level is 7.5 metres above Ordnance Datum Newlyn. Don't ask me what that is. This information has been sourced from the Environment Agency Coastal Design Sea Levels, a coastal flood boundary extreme sea levels dataset. This is reflected in the latest NRW flood maps, which only identify a couple of sections of road currently at low risk of flooding, meaning that each year these areas have a chance of flooding between 1 in 1,000 and 1 in 200. So that's 0.1% and sorry, 0.01%, and 1 in 200, which is 0.05%, and the remainder at very low risk. For context, NRW's recently updated the tidal flood maps for this area, and the mapping shows only a couple of areas of the roads in question are at low tidal flood risk each year. So each year, this area has a chance of flooding of between 1 in 1,000 and 1 in 200 for a 0.5 annual exceedance probability, which would be a 1 in 200 year event. As referred to below, none of the roads are affected, but the quayside would be overtopped and the adjacent scrubland would be flooded. Having double-checked the present-day extreme sea levels for this site, the 0.5% annual exceedance probability present day is 7.5 metres above Ordnance Datum Newlyn, which is significantly lower than the 8.75 metre referred to below, rising to 7.9 metres above Ordnance Datum Newlyn for the 0.1%, which is the 1 in 1,000 year event, which matches with the NRW mapping, and the 0.0001% annual exceedance probability, which is 1 in 10,000 year level, is present day water level of 8.6 metres, is the highest readily available figure, which is still slightly lower than the figure Mr. Mack has quoted. It therefore appears that the figure quoted by Mr. Mack includes an allowance for sea level rise, which would be approximately 1 metre in 100 years, but I'm unaware of the detailed source of the figure to investigate further. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you for that very detailed reply. Moving on to agenda item 12, any items which the Mayor has decided are urgent. Part 1, I have none, and nothing under Part 2. And I have no urgent items on agenda item 13. So good night and thank you for your... Oh, sorry, Councillor Carroll.
Yes, Madam Mayor, it's just for the record, on the assumption that Councillor Fisher was unable to join the meeting before close. Could we record his apologies, please?
Carol, thank you. Thank you all and good night. Good night, thank you.